This is going to be a look at Taylor Heinicke's game-winning drive against the Colts in Week 8. Of course, they were down 16-7 at one point in the fourth quarter. He actually converted 2 fourth downs on 2 separate drives, one leading to a field goal to cut the lead to 16-10, and then the game-winning drive capped off by his unbelievable throw to Terry McLaurin, and then his quarterback sneak to win the game. Puts Washington at 4-4, and unfortunately for them, they have to play Minnesota and the Eagles in back-to-back weeks. So real test of Heinicke and Washington and their ability to stay with high-level competition. But you have to feel good if you're a Washington Commanders fan about the quarterback situation you got, even though it's a backup guy, because he's got a lot of guts. This is the fourth and one play where he finds Curtis Samuel. We'll go over this a couple of times. This is a trip set to the right, basically a space concept up at the top side of the screen. Indianapolis is playing zone to one side and man to the other, which is not unusual against trips where you have the X backside. So they're going to play man down here to the bottom side. We'll let you see it here for a moment. Running back releases out into the flats, and the linebacker goes with him in man. Simultaneous to that, you have the X receiver being covered by Stephon Gilmore, man-to-man. This safety trying to help out with anything, 3 in the middle of the field or maybe even 3 vertical. But you can see the orientation of the corner, the inside linebacker, and then the nickel defender. They're all playing zone with a free safety over the top. So they're just playing 4 over 3. And unfortunately for Indianapolis, this edge rusher up at the top kind of stems inside to trying to go after the quarterback. Heinicke sees it after he recognized that no one's open because they got man down the bottom side. Linebacker did a good job on the running back. Gilmore obviously did a good job on the X. He's playing super well this season. And then Heinicke's able to scramble out. The defensive, it's simple as that. The defensive end stems inside. That was not a stunt at all. And Heinicke recognizes it, able to scramble out and then find Curtis Samuel for the first down. Huge play. Backed up to their own 20. So we're talking about this edge player here. You got a B-gap rusher here, and this edge rusher should be C-gap. He ends up, for whatever reason, I think he believes that Heinicke's going to try to scramble up the middle, so he stems back inside. It's not a called stunt. It's not a Tex or X stunt, whatever you want to call it. He's just going inside, I believe, because he thinks that's where Heinicke's going. It didn't look like a very abrupt, to me, change of the rush lane at all. I think this is Ngakoue. Didn't look like a very abrupt change at all of the rush. He's unable to corral him. Big throw, big completion to Curtis Samuel, gets things going for them. Like I said, down 16-10 late in the game. All right, 2 plays later, it's a 2nd and 6, about 1:15 remaining. They're in a flex or 2-by-2 set. Again, Heinicke gets back here, doesn't see anyone open. The rush can't get to him, and he's able to get the first down, snaking up the left sideline. Guy just has no fear. I'm not a Washington fan. I don't watch a ton of Washington games. I watched the end of this one. They're using another trip set with the X backside. Colts dropping off into a Tampa 2 zone. So you can see this nice delineation there. You have your Mike backer running between the hashes. You have a half-field safety here, a half-field safety here, and then your 4 underneath droppers. No one appears to develop or spring open. He doesn't identify this route for whatever reason. Maybe he's on something else in the progression. Gilmore's in a little bit of conflict in terms of having a receiver there and the quarterback scrambling out to him. Heinicke makes a good decision. All right, now one of the big plays. I think this one is to Sims, another trip set. 3 receivers to the top side of the field. You get this seam route and a dig by the number 1, and it's a great throw underneath the safety. So you're going to get a seam vertical by 2, and then this late developing dig by 1. I think the route's slightly different than I drew up there. Heinicke understands what he's got. He got good protection. Look at the wall that's built by the O-line for him. Throws it over the top on this in cut right down near the hash. Safety's got a vertical running at him, so he can't just jump it, but he's got to wait till he sees the ball thrown. He does. And Heinicke's got enough arm strength to get it there. Beautiful play. 21-yard gain to Sims. Another trip set. This is the big play to McLaurin. Trips to the right, running back to the backside. Again, it looks like you've got a zone delineation up here. Gilmore is locked up on McLaurin down at the bottom side. And then Once the play's extended a little bit, once he finds some space in the pocket, you can see McLaurin's got Gilmore beat. Gilmore just stopped playing. It's not that Gilmore couldn't cover him well. He just stopped playing for an instant. And then, he almost makes a beautiful play here. He stops playing once he realizes the route is covered, right about right here. He's looking in the backfield, not necessarily giving 100% attention to McLaurin, and loses him for a split second. McLaurin's speed and agility is able to get downfield. Look, I think Gilmore's playing fantastic. I wanted the Ravens to pick him up in the offseason, so it's not meant to denigrate him. I just think for an instant he stopped playing football. And that's the margin for error in the NFL when you're playing corner, especially against a guy like Terry McLaurin. Again, time for Heinicke to throw the football or find someone to throw it to. Ball's a little underthrown. Gilmore with a fantastic challenge. I watched this live and I thought he had an interception. McLaurin's able to come down with it. Awesome play. Washington, like I said, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. They get a quarterback sneak by Heinicke on the next play, going off tackle with it. Gets in there cleanly. I think puts them at 4-4. And now they're playing Minnesota and the Eagles in back-to-back weeks. Then they got Atlanta, I believe, a very winnable game, and then 2 games against the Giants. So as good as this feels for Washington and Washington fans, they've got an extremely challenging schedule coming up soon with 4 of their next 5 games coming against teams who have, I think, 6 wins or more. Between Minnesota, the Eagles, and then the Giants twice. Maybe I missed 1 game in there. So maybe it's 4 of their next 6 games. But they're in a tough spot in terms of their schedule. This was just a look at the game-winning drive. I don't know how you can quantify what Taylor Heinicke seems to be able to do once or twice a year. Again, I don't watch Washington games really closely because I'm so focused on the Ravens and the AFC North. But he seems like a guy that does this once or twice a year. And maybe with more opportunities, maybe he would be able to do more things like this. He's got 2 wins in a row as they've evened out their record. Should be pretty exciting for Washington fans. Being a Washington fan decades ago myself, I understand how the fan base is, so they have high expectations. So good to see. Hopefully you guys that are Washington fans that watch this, let me know what your perception is of Taylor Heinicke and how he finished out the Week 8 win over the Colts.